Canada, whether you're watching us from Ghana, Nigeria. We just hope everything is fine with you wherever you're watching us from, whether from the United States, whether from here in Canada, whether you're watching us from Ghana, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Uganda, Senegal, everywhere, every part of the world, we send greetings to you. So as usual, this yet another, we've come to the end of another week, and then as we always do, we always try to bring you something useful, something quite informative, something that you'll be able to also use to plan your whole life when it comes to traveling, right? And so this week we just want to touch on a few things. Particularly, we want to talk about, we just want to give a few tips here and there to people who have secured their visas and people who are coming here to Canada or traveling to any part of the going to any of these Western worlds. But we'll be dwelling, mostly on coming to Canada. And so I want to say, welcome, and then just have a, just grab a seat, and then let's have a chat. Let's have a whole conversation, okay? Yeah. So today we want to give, a few tips to incoming students to Canada. People welcome to Canada as students. Now, first and foremost, we want to say, a very big congratulations to each and everyone who's been able to secure, the admissions and student visas from every part of the world coming here to Canada. This does not really apply to only people that we work with. If you've been able to, get your visa, you're coming to Canada, congratulations to you. Now, so that's just one step of the process. Now, a whole journey lies ahead of you. What is very important really lies ahead of you at this point. And we just want to take, a few moments to discuss a few things quite imperative, to making your journey quite a success and to making everything a smooth process for you. Okay, so the first point we just want to make sure you grab is that prepare well. Now, someone might ask, so if you say prepare well, what are you trying to say? Because it's very broad. Now, yes, we understand it's very broad, but you have to prepare well. And in the preparation, what you have to know is that you have to start from the basics. So if you're coming here to Canada, you have to know the kind of weather that we have here. Of course, it's not the same as the weather that you have in Accra or Lagos or Kigali or wherever. So you have to make sure you have good clothes, a bit of good warm clothes once you come in here, and then you'll be okay. Now, most importantly, you want to talk about, the immigration aspect. And so there's been several instances that people are able to secure their visas. They get to the airport and they are bounced back to their home country. Yeah, that's the term I can use at this point. They are not allowed to enter into the country. One thing that you have to understand is that having the visa is totally a different issue from like entering into the country. So you can have a visa, but then the visa officer will have to use his own discretion to decide whether they will allow you into the country or not. And so, it's very important that you take these things that we are about to discuss quite seriously, and then you make sure you go through the process smoothly. So, you have to be aware of a few questions that you are going to be asked when you get to the immigration point, at the point of entry, because the officer at the point of entry has the total power to let you enter into the country or not. So this is something that is very important. Now, some of the questions that you'll be faced with are, where are you going? Like, where are you going? Which university are you going? Which college are you going to? What are you coming to do here in Canada? Like how much money do you have on you and stuff like that. Now, before we go to how to answer these kind of questions, we just want to say something here that do not be afraid. When you get to the point of entry, do not be afraid. Now, this is typically for travelers, first-time travelers, and then they have, little to no experience when it comes to traveling. And so we've seen issues or instances that people get to this kind of point of entry, that point, and they are, shaking, Yeah, don't be laughing. It's quite a serious issue. So most people, they just tend to have a bit of anxiety when it comes to that situation because they are scared, right? Now, so the first thing we want to tell you is that build your confidence. Do a few practice, here and there at home before you travel. And don't be stressed. I mean, it's you're coming and you're coming. Nothing can stop you, right? But you just have to know what you're saying, okay? So, typically some of the questions that you'll be asked is, why are you coming here? So of course you are coming here as a student. You just tell the officer that you're coming here as a student, right? If he wants to go ahead and ask you some other questions, just feel free to answer, give more the details. And so you have to make sure you really know what you're coming here for. Of course, if you're coming here as a student, you should be able to answer every question. Which program you're coming to do, how you're going to fund your studies, where is your campus, all these things are basic stuff that should be on your fingertips, right? So these are basic questions. Sometimes if they want to really disturb you, they'll go ahead and ask you like the monetary requirement and all that, how much you have on you. But this is not really necessary. It's not everybody who have time to be asking you all these things. But of course, if you're being asked, you have to give a very good answer to that. But what I want to say is that don't be shaken, don't be afraid, because they are human beings just like you, okay? So that's just about that. When you get there, make sure that you are very confident enough and then you are able to enter. Now, one tip I want to give you is that when you get your visa and you're buying your ticket, your plane ticket, make sure that your plane ticket is accurate. So for instance, we've seen people like you're going to Newfoundland, you're going to Vancouver, you are going to Halifax, and then your ticket is to Ontario. All right. Now, if you do something like that, it makes everything looks quite fishy, and they are a bit skeptical about whether you're really going to the school or not. So for instance, if your school is in Saskatchewan, yeah, and your ticket is just to Ontario, just because you have a brother in Ontario that you want to come and visit before you go to school, it puts a little bit of question mark, whether you're really coming as a student or not. So make sure that you have your ticket, up to date. And your ticket, your final destination is where you're going to study. Don't put yourself in any kind of problem that will be very difficult for you to explain yourself, okay? Because you've gone through all the hard, the difficult processes. You get admission, get whatever, get your visa. Now, just this simple thing, and is going to create a whole lot of confusion around your traveling. So just try to avoid that, okay? Now, once you've been able to, do all these things and you get cleared from the airport, of course, if you're working with us, we will pick you up from the airport to wherever destination that we got to take you. Of course, we will give you a free accommodation. That is if you're working with us. And if you're coming on your own, once you get off from the, you're able to go to the port of entry, you get your bags and all that. There are, commercial, vehicles that you'll be able to take to your destination and all that. Just make sure that you're taking the right, taxi and all that, because sometimes Canada is generally safe, but you never know. But just make sure that you're dealing with a company, like a reputable company, when it comes to all these kind of transportation issues. So that's just one thing. Now, once you get settled, you go to your accommodation, which of course you have to pre-arrange it before you come here. Of course, if we are working with you, we do all these things for you, right? So once you get that and you come into once you settle, there are some basic things that you gotta do. You have to get them done as soon as possible once you come here. So the first thing that you have to do is that you have to, get your social insurance number. Social insurance number, basically is your SIN number. That's how we call it over here. When you go to the United States, it's you refer to it as a social security number and stuff like that. So, basically this is like what we call papers. Back home. That allows you to be able to work, because if you want to work, you need this kind of number. If you don't have it, you will not be able to work. So this is something very, very important. And how do you get this? Somebody might ask, how do I even get this? So once you come and you have a study permit, once you settle down, you just look for Service Canada, and you go to Service Canada, right? Once you go to Service Canada and you present your study visa or student permit, you will be also like asked a few documentation like your passport and stuff like that, and then you will be able to provide all this kind of information. Once you do that, your SIN number will be done or made all ready for you, and then you are good to go. Once you get that, you know that at least you'll be able to take up an employment opportunity if it comes your way. So that's very good. One thing that you would also want to tackle is your health card, right? So in Canada, we have every province that you go to, every province has got its own health regulatory requirement, and you need to get your health card because it's very, very imperative that you don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. And thankfully, the health system here in Canada is one of the best. I mean, it's world class. Basically, you don't really pay for anything. And so once you have your health card, you'll be able to enjoy this kind of free benefit, world class health system. So make sure that you get it, right ahead of time, and then if anything happens, you will not be found wanting, right? Now, so you've settled down, you have your SIN number, you have your health card. One thing that you have to also, really look out for is setting up a bank account. So it's quite difficult to do any kind of transaction here if you don't have a bank account. And in opening the bank account, you just have to submit a few documentation here and there, and then it's going to be open for you. You are also able to open it well in advance. I mean, before you even come to Canada, there are a few banks that will open the bank account for you, okay? And then you'll be able to set it up. Once you come, everything will be just, go through. You have to just go through the processes, and you'll be given a Visa card or whatever, or a credit card or anything like that, and you are able to get settled as soon as possible. Now, the next thing is that look for your school. Locate your school. Go and visit your campus. Don't go and look for jobs at that point, okay? We know you want to work and all that, but go and look for school, because that's why you came here. That's the purpose for which your visa was granted. So look for your school, and then don't look for jobs at that point. There are a lot of jobs are here in Canada. We have a lot of jobs here in Canada.